Welcome to, or welcome back to, my ASMR channel. Look, let me tell you guys something, okay? I have been going through it these last couple days. It is, I'm a girl, obviously, so it's been that week, and it has been kicking my butt. I've been going to bed so early, and yeah, so I'm so sorry for the delayed video update. But as usual, thank you for being here, and let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Today is Am I the A-hole? In-laws edition. I thought this would be fun because I kind of have a problem. Not kind of, I do. We are no contact with my husband's parents. So I thought it would be a fun video to see what other in-law problems there are out in the world. So let's go ahead and get started. Am I the a-hole for telling my in-laws it was on them to explain to their guests why there weren't any places for them at my wedding reception? I think the title has all the information. I married my husband last weekend. This was 2 years ago. After about a year of planning, the ceremony went off perfectly, even with kids in the church. The formal photos weren't delayed. No one got drunk and wrecked anything. No one insisted on bringing their emotional support goat. I'm sorry, that's kind of funny. The only hitch was that my in-laws invited about 10 extra people without telling us. Not relatives or anything, just friends of theirs we did not invite since we didn't know them. I did not notice them at the ceremony, and it wasn't until the reception that there were issues. There was no seating for them. Our best man and groomsmen found a folding table and chairs for them to sit at. There was food because we went with a buffet, but since we sent the tables to eat by number and they didn't have a number, they were sent last after everything had been picked over. My in-laws were embarrassed that their friends were treated that way. I very politely asked them what they expected when they invited people without telling the people planning and paying for the wedding. Touché. They said we needed to go apologize for their treatment. I said I would, but I would also explain that they had not actually been invited. If they wanted their guests told anything else, then they had to go explain. They are upset with me. My husband has my back 100%. I think I could have been more gracious, but I also think it should not have fallen on us to deal with it. I agree. Sorry, my lips are so chapped because I've been outside with my son. And right now, it is 29 degrees outside. And it was very cold today. Anyways, no, you're not the asshole. It's always so crazy to me to see, like, the audacity that in-laws think, like, that they have. I redid my nails, by the way. They are not my vibe, but they're cute, they're cute, they're cute. Anyways. No, you are not the a-hole, and I can't believe that they invited people to your wedding without consulting you, without telling you, without anything. Until you got to the reception and saw them standing there. And then they had the audacity to say they were embarrassed. You should be embarrassed because you invited people that shouldn't have been there. So you embarrassed yourself. Do you know what I mean? be the same way if your family, like your parents, showed up without telling you. I am the kind of person where, like, yes, I have rules for my in-laws, but I also have rules for my family that are the same rules. Like, you can't do something that I wouldn't allow the other to do. I, 37 female, took a beach vacation with my husband, 40 male, and our 3 kids, 4, 2, and a 3-month-old. We also invited his sister, her husband, and 2 kids. As we had a detached bedroom from the main house, we genuinely like hanging out with them. I told her we wanted to keep it small this year since we have a new baby. I'm pretty freshly postpartum and I didn't want it to be stressful. While we were at the beach, we see my mother-in-law, father-in-law, stepson, 20 years old, and his girlfriend. This is a 3-hour drive from where we live. They came to surprise us at the beach since we haven't seen my stepson in 2 months. My sister-in-law said that they've been planning this for weeks and she gave them the mile marker. This was a cool surprise, but afterwards they expected to stay with us in our 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom rental house with no doors, only sliding doors. They had no plans for lodging or eating, so we got to work to make dinner, which was fine because I had packed extra food. Due to space constraints, I put the baby down for a nap in the restroom. We had 2 pack and plays in there. Oh my gosh, it must have been a really big bathroom. When I went back to check on him a little later, my stepson and his girlfriend were in the transparent glass shower together, steps away from my 3-month-old. No. I went back to the kitchen and told sister-in-law they cannot stay with us. My husband told them they could because he is out of touch with what that would actually mean. 6 adults, 2 toddlers sharing 1 restroom where 2 babies are sleeping. I told her what I just saw with stepson and girlfriend in the shower. Again, reminding her it's too many people going in and out of the restroom with 2 kids asleep in there. She understood and started looking up hotels. Okay. My stepson's girlfriend was already scoping out the couch and said, and she could have slept there, but after wrestling 2 babies to sleep in the restroom and my 4-year-old to sleep in the actual bed, the couch was the only place I could sit and have a glass of wine at the end of the night. After getting a hotel room, they stayed at the beach house until midnight playing poker on the patio and shouting. My husband asked his dad to please be quiet since the kids were sleeping. And father-in-law loudly shouted, "Shut up," and kept playing. Oh my god. No, this has since caused major conflict with my husband as he believes we should have just let 4 additional people stay since they are family. We paid for half the hotel room and my sister-in-law paid the other half. For context, we have been to the beach 1 other time with them, but have never been with my mother and father-in-law. My stepson has been gone for 2 months, but will be in town the next 3 weeks, so it's not like we wouldn't have seen him the next day when we went home. I understand they wanted this to be a fun surprise, but no one considered how this would impact us as a family traveling with 3 small children. Technically 6 because the sister-in-law has 2. In a relatively small beach house. Am I the a-hole for making my in-laws stay in a hotel after they surprised us? No, I don't think you are. I have a couple different views on this. One, a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom house for 4 adults and 5 kids is already a lot. So in my head, I'm kind of just thinking, why didn't you guys get a bigger house in the beginning for all of you so that your kids weren't sleeping in the bathroom? But that's just me. So maybe just ignore that opinion. I don't know. I feel like that's just kind of setting yourself up for failure on a family vacation, renting out something that is so small. You know what I mean? But maybe that's just me. Anyways, your sister-in-law kind of helped put this together, and I don't think that was cool either. It's especially not cool that your stepson and his girlfriend were in the shower with two small kids in there sleeping. That's insane to me. Like, where's the respect? Where's the boundaries? You know what I mean? But no, you're not the a-hole, and hopefully your in-laws don't think you are either. Your father-in-law telling your husband to shut up is kind of crazy. I would never allow that myself. Like, even if my husband's parents were telling him to shut up, I would be like, hey, he's a grown man, you can't speak to him like that anymore. You know what I mean? I don't think you're the a-hole, but I think that whole thing is a little weird. You know what I mean? So sorry. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the third story. Am I the a-hole for forbidding my in-laws contact with my children? Already probably no, honestly. And I'll touch on that when we get to the end of this story. I, 38-year-old female, have two children, 8 and 6, with my husband, 45-year-old male. We have a great little life. We live in the country with room to run and ride four-wheelers. We have tree houses, creeks to splash in. Our children are happy, healthy, kind, and fairly well-rounded. No child is perfect. We have our moments, I assure you. My husband and I have been together just shy of 16 years. I only have a single grandparent left on my side of the family, and I am an only child. Oh, that means she only has one person. Because he has two brothers and both of his parents, up until I demanded no contact. His parents watched our children after school, and during the summers for a couple days a week. Over the years, there have been snide, ignorant, racially based comments made about myself. I am of mixed descent, and I'm very proud of that, as you should be. I've always just shoved them aside and blamed ignorance in older people. No. Now, one of our children, 8, looks like me, darker hair and skin. The other is 6, is more like their father. Dirty blonde, lighter skin. Genetics are a pretty cool thing. That they are. A comment was made at Christmas by my mother-in-law that I shouldn't take our younger information to anyone, and here we are. They have contacted the babysitter asking if she has the children, when she'll have the children. I'm still livid, but I'm certain that the tense, walking on eggshells, accusation-ridden, racially charged environment is not healthy for my children, and until we can all come to an agreement, no one sees them. So, am I the asshole? No. No, 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 no. No. Look. I'll just give you guys a little background. My in-laws are manipulative, vindictive, narcissistic people. Okay, and a year into our marriage, my husband had finally had enough and was like, we're done. Do not talk to us anymore, blah, 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 blah. And we didn't talk to them for a while until I got pregnant, and I was like, look, we should probably try to give them a second chance. Just because we're having a baby, like I was hormonal and delusional, okay? So, she added me back on Facebook, found my baby registry on my Facebook account, and started going buku crazy buying stuff off of it, and we were like, thank you, but we don't need you to do that, like we don't want anything from you. Literally, it got to the point where my husband texted her. I was like, stop sending stuff. We don't want anything. We don't need anything. All of that kind of stuff. And, she is just, anyways, we got to the date of my birth. I did not tell anybody that I was going into labor. I had him on my birthday, so my son and I share the same birthday, and I just know that eats at her. Oh. Anyways, we texted her. I texted her at like midnight. I had him at like 8:30, and I waited a couple hours because, I just gave birth. I was in love with my newborn baby. I wasn't worried about my phone. I wasn't texting anybody. So I sent her the information. And she was like, I hope he lives a long, healthy, happy life. And to me, that just raises red flags because she's shady, you know what I mean? But before we started talking again, she was talking to my sibling-in-laws, my two brother-in-laws, so my husband's brothers, and she was like, we've tried to apologize to him, we've reached out, we've called, we've texted, we've done all of this. And the sister-in-law that I'm like super, super close with, she was like, well, have you tried talking to Viv? Like, she's the one that you were in you want pictures of my baby. You haven't even asked how he's doing. You haven't asked how I was doing. And you expect me to just send you pictures? Absolutely not. So I told my husband, and he texted her, and he was like, you will not be seeing my child for the foreseeable future. And then they cut us off again. Well, they cut us off this time. And then, unfortunately, our dog unexpectedly passed away 2 weeks after I gave birth, and it was really, really hard. Oh man, it made me spiral into postpartum depression, and I had posted about it, obviously, as we do, and she put a story up on her Facebook of her little avatar, like, you know, the Facebook avatars, and said karma with a question mark with the song Who Let the Dogs Out. And we haven't talked to them since. That was 3 years ago. And I have no care in the world to talk to them ever again. So no, you're not the asshole for keeping your kids from them. I will say, mother-in-laws on the man's side can be extremely crazy. I have a son, and let me tell you, when he has a girlfriend, unless there are major red flags that concern me for his safety, that girl, if I don't like her, she will never, ever, ever be able to tell that I don't like her. Because at the end of the day, my son likes you. What does it matter if I like you or not? Like, you know what I mean? And even if I don't like you, I'm not going to treat you any different. Because I've been through it. I would never, ever make another young girl feel the way my mother-in-law's made me feel. But you can Google it. There are so many cases of this, that the husband's mother doesn't care that that kid is also their kid. It's also their grandkid. But because it's your kid, it's a problem. And a lot of mother-in-laws go to great lengths to hurt the child because it's your child. Google it. Anyway, sorry for rambling. Moving on. That one just really hit close to home because, like, no, that's insane. Never talk to them again. Am I the a-hole for going off on my in-laws and telling them I don't trust them? No. My wife, 34 female, and I, 37 male, have been married for 4 years and have 2 little boys, 3 and 1. Both of our kids have had their fair share of minor health issues, multiple ear infections that lead to tubes in our 3-year-old, flu, RSV, hand, foot, and mouth, etc. It's been a lot in a few short years, and sometimes I genuinely wonder how we've made it. My brother has a running joke that we are single-handedly putting our pediatrician's kids through college. We both have family nearby to help, which has been a lifesaver. This past weekend, my wife's mom and stepdad offered to take the boys to a nearby park to give us a break for a couple hours. When they got back to our house, our 1-year-old was crying and upset. And they told us he just seemed really tired and or hungry. My in-laws made some jokes about us not letting them watch the kids again, then left, and we got the kids some food and put them down for a nap. When the 1-year-old woke up, he still seemed out of it and was unable to put weight on his left leg. At this point, we knew something was up, so we took him to urgent care. On the way there, my wife leaving